Hi Capricorn, welcome to your July 2017 Astro Updates. It's Rena here, speaking to you after midnight, so that's why I'm talking like this. I do want to get out these July readings before the end of June, so that's why I'm doing this so late at night. But I think for you guys that if you are in a committed partnership, if you're in a marriage, that even if you're having rocky times, that there will be some kind of renewal perhaps, and you're going to go deeper, you're going to forge a deep bond with this person. Now, the seventh house can also be any kind of partnership, so that, if you have clients, you may really get to that level with them, that intimate level, where they trust you implicitly. And depending on what kind of business you have, that can be very advantageous. But in any case, let me just go through these in the order that they're occurring to give you a kind of a story of how the energy unfolds. So I'll just say overall that the sun is going to be in Cancer. Now, Cancer is your opposite sign. So all these transits in Cancer are in your seventh house. The sun kind of is a general positive influence. If you think of the sun card in the tarot, it represents success, love, happiness, health, everything good, prosperity. So you're having this in that sector until July 22nd, and then the sun goes into the 8th house, and you may start to feel a certain intensity. It's like you become a Scorpio for the time being, and before that you're like a Libra, and so you're very romantic for the first few weeks. Now, speaking of being romantic, you have Venus going into Cancer, that opposite sign, on the last day of July. Okay, so it does eventually go into that 7th house. But for the first few days, it's in Taurus. And Taurus is a sister earth sign. So you have Venus in the 5th house of romance. It's also the house of creativity. So for artists, Venus in this house can make you even more inspired. And the other thing that Venus does is bring money to whatever house she transits. So for an artist, you could get some kind of monetary gain from your artwork in some way. But this is only until the 4th of the month, and then Venus goes into your 6th house of health in the sign of Gemini. And this can mean several things. First of all, if you have had any kind of conflict in the workplace, then, because Mars has recently transited through the 6th house, and there may have been some kind of disagreements even. This can smooth things over. You can see more money from your work, Venus in the work sector, and you can have more harmony with your co-workers. Your health can not only improve, but you could even seem more attractive because of the state of your health. You may spend money on expensive items that are connected to health. And Mercury, the next day on the 5th of July, goes from your 7th house in Cancer to your 8th house in Leo. And so this means that, if you're with a partner, you start to have that dialogue about very important issues. Perhaps in your marriage or your committed partnership, you were not really bearing your soul with your partner, and things were just kept at the surface, and something came about that made you realize that you needed to get closer emotionally. The 8th house can also be the house of sexual intimacy. With Mercury, this would be talking about these things and what kind of things you would like to see happen to improve that area as well. And on the 26th of the month, you have Mercury going into your 9th house with your sister Earth sign Virgo. And this can be discussions involving universities, involving travel arrangements. Mercury can be about traveling. So you may be, maybe it's combined with some kind of academic work where you're a traveling professor. But this can also be about thinking about your philosophy of life and how it is working for you or how it's not working for you. Because one thing I didn't say about the 8th house, which I really should mention, is that the 8th house that Scorpio naturally rules can deal with metaphysics and the secrets of life, the occult, so this, what I'm doing, astrology or the tarot or reincarnation issues. I'm not talking about actual past lives, which would be more of the 12th house, but anything dealing with mediumship, talking to the dead. And so these things may hold great interest for you, and you may be mulling it over in your mind for some reason. So Mars starts out the month in your 7th house. And on the 20th of the month, it goes into your 8th house. Mars in this sector can bring conflict, to a marriage. And as I say, Venus goes into the 7th house on the very last day of the month. So whenever I see Mars ahead of Venus, I tend to think of conflicts and then resolutions for some reason. But Mars can also be activity, maybe more activity than usual. And the 7th house can also be about legal matters, the 7th and the 9th houses. But with the 8th house, it can sometimes deal with inheritance issues, other people's money. So for those people for whom there is some kind of estate, this may be front and center in July. And what I would say, just based on personal experience, is that especially with Mars in the 7th, going into the 8th house on the 20th, watch how aggressive you get. If you smell blood, meaning that sometimes with these kinds of issues, there may be this sense, and it might be a righteous indignation that you are being cheated in some way, that you're getting the short shrift. But you have to look at the bigger picture and say to yourself, do I really want to lawyer up? Do I really want to go there and possibly have some kind of irrevocable rift with other family members, simply because I might think that they are trying to take advantage. There's not one right answer, because sometimes it may be spiritually, maybe it's in the best interest of everyone if you fight for your rights, because maybe these other people are needing to learn that they can't just do whatever they want, especially if it's not ethical. So I'm certainly not saying that, but in certain cases, it may initially seem unfair, and then when you think about it, you realize that everything is in divine order. And it brings peace to your heart when that happens, because it's kind of unpleasant to deal with these kinds of things, and it's not always worth it. Let me just put it that way. But yeah, so you might be dealing with things of this nature. Mars in the 8th house can simply be, hubba hubba, getting busy. Mars is the sex drive. The 8th house is Scorpio's house. Sexual intimacy, sexual healing. But it can be also just being like totally riveted by exploration of the occult and things of that nature. One thing I should have I was trying to be chronological, but on the 9th of the month, there's going to be a full moon in your sign. What makes this particularly significant, Capricorn, is that we have this transiting Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008, and you have probably felt it. It's probably been very transformative thus far for Capricorns. But on the 9th of July, when there is this full moon in Capricorn at 17 degrees, the transiting Pluto in Capricorn is going to be at 18 degrees. So it's only 1 degree apart. That would be considered a conjunction. And because of this, it really intensifies an already intense full moon. But I think it's wonderful for purging, for regeneration. And for Capricorns who are conscious, this is a great time to let go of things that you know are not good for you. And depending on the individual, relationships, because there's always an opposition at full moons to the sun. So you have that full moon in your sign in the first house. And by the way, I should always say that this is for the sun in Capricorn and the rising sign in Capricorn. So this could be your rising sign. But there's going to be the sun in the 7th house at the time of that full moon in the exact same degree. So it's the self versus the couple, and who wins out in this. And with Pluto in that conjunction in that first house, you might be saying, something, I am in the midst of a major transformation. I am emerging like a butterfly, and I feel like this other person is ripping my cocoon apart, and they're not letting me develop in the way that I need to. And so it can bring awareness. Full moons can shine a spotlight on things, and you can see the relationship in all of its faults and or flaws, as well as the good side of things. Full moons can bring things to light. And then you're going to have a new moon in Leo on July 23rd. Again, that 8th house, new beginnings with other people's money, with intimate issues. This is a very relationship-oriented month for you, especially so, Capricorn. But I also believe that for you personally, there's a transformation taking place because of that full moon. So it does seem like it's very intense with the 8th house, that can be very intense energy. But I think that overall, Pluto rules the 8th house. So to have that conjunction with the transiting Pluto and the full moon in your first house of self, yeah, it looks like you're really, this is like kind of maybe even a turning point for you. So I wish you all the best as you, travel through this time period in July, Capricorn. If you'd like a personal reading, I have provided the link below, and it's going to take you to rainamoonastrology.com. If you click on it, I have a special on my natal chart interpretations right now. So good luck to you in July. Bye.